take a moment to address some important conversations happening across the WNBA, including remarks made earlier this week by Nafisa Collier. First, let me repeat this. You saw it in my statement, but I have the utmost respect for Nafisa and for every single player in our league. They are at the center of everything we do. I was disheartened to hear that some players feel the league and me personally do not care about them or listen to them. And if the players in the W don't feel appreciated and valued by the league, then we have to do better and I have to do better.
Okay, so Cathy Engelbert just pulled the fastest 18 we've seen in sports PR all year. Seriously, the same commissioner who basically brushed off every single player complaint is now out here acting like she's leading a big happy family reunion. Suddenly she cares super deeply about everyone, right? Sure, Cathy, sure. So what do you think? Is this sudden apology tour actually genuine, or is it just pure unadulterated damage control? Because honestly, this is the funniest pivot we've seen since Ben Simmons famously claimed he was working on his jumper.
You know how great these players are on and off the court, how much they mean to our league, our fans, and our communities. If they don't feel that, I will do everything I can to change that. No one should ever doubt how deeply I care about this league, this game, and every single player who makes the WNBA what it is. So we value feedback, we listen to criticism, we remain committed to engaging in the difficult but necessary conversations that ultimately make us all stronger and better.
Get this, Cathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner, literally went from calling out inaccurate rumors and being disheartened by player criticism to suddenly standing on stage sounding like the world's most understanding aunt. You absolutely cannot make this stuff up. Just this week during her WNBA Finals press conference, she tried to deliver what should have been a calm, professional speech. Instead, it came across as a total rewrite of history, like she completely forgot we all just watched the last 2 weeks unfold in real time. But hold up, let's rewind for a second. Only 2 weeks ago, Nafisa Collier, one of the most respected players in the league, dropped a nuke on the WNBA's leadership, exposing private comments allegedly made by Cathy Engelbert herself. Comments like only losers complain about refs, and players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the deal I got them. Yeah. That immediately went viral in record time, and it definitely didn't help that Cathy's initial response sounded like something generated by ChatGPT 0.5. You know, I'm disheartened. Perspectives differ. That's not leadership, folks. That's copy-paste corporate apology mode, pure and simple.
Minnesota Lynx star Nafisa Collier blasted WNBA leadership in her exit interview on Tuesday, accusing league commissioner Cathy Engelbert of being, quote, negligent in her governance. A moment ago, Caitlin Clark spoke on the matter. Take a listen.
First of all, I have great respect for Fee, and I think she made a lot of very valid points. And, I think what people need to understand, we need great leadership in this time across all levels. This is straight up the most important moment in this league's history. This league's been around for 25 plus years, and this is a moment we have to capitalize on. So that's honestly what I would say. I think there's, Fee said it all with what she said, and I think the points she made were very valid.
And then things just got worse, right? Sophie Cunningham, and a whole host of other players, including huge names like Caitlin Clark, Breanna Stewart, and Elena Della Dunn, all started chiming in. Suddenly, the entire league was calling out Engelbert's totally tone-deaf leadership. So, what's Cathy's next move? She waltzes into the WNBA Finals press conference, gives a 20-minute speech, and acts like she's Mother Teresa. Poof! Just like that, she deeply respects every player, genuinely cares about their safety, and is forming a state-of-the-game committee to finally fix officiating.
And better. As it relates to officiating and gameplay on the court, we hear the concerns, we take them seriously. Our game is faster, featuring more talent, and the game is more competitive than ever before. And with that evolution, game rules, interpretation, and officiating has to keep pace. Every major sport goes through this. Rules evolve, officiating adapts, standards shift. Alongside the growth of the game, the WNBA is no different. At the conclusion of the season, as we do every year, the league's competition committee will meet to evaluate the state of the game, which includes game rules, officiating, and player safety on the court.
Right? The same officiating issues players have been complaining about all season long. Now suddenly, it's a top priority. Why? Because everyone's fed up, not because she suddenly discovered empathy. It's truly wild how fast we're doing fine magically turned into we're listening carefully to the players' concerns.
Various stakeholders' eyes. There are no greater stakeholders than our players. Their voice is integral to the alignment that is required for good officiating, and we look forward to including their perspectives on how our staff can better serve the game moving forward. So through the competition committee and the State of the Game committee I've mentioned, we will take a hard look at what the proper line should be for good, aggressive play that we recognize has evolved into rough play, and how to calibrate the line for legal and illegal contact to ensure player safety and exciting competition.
See? That's not growth, folks. That's straight up survival mode. And honestly, this entire press conference was a masterclass in pretending to take accountability without ever actually saying, I messed up. So, let's break it down. She opens by talking about the finals, the Aces versus the Mercury, the 29th WNBA finals, all this exciting stuff for the league. She throws in buzzwords like resilience, togetherness, and belief. All very nice and all totally irrelevant to the actual controversy at hand. Then, out of nowhere, she transitions to the important conversations happening across the league. Translation? She finally realized the internet had been dragging her for 2 straight weeks. She actually says, I was disheartened to hear that some players feel the league, and I personally do not care about them. Wait, some players, Kathy? You mean pretty much every player who spoke to the media this month. And then she follows that up with, if the players don't feel appreciated, then I have to do better. So now you care, after saying Collier's comments were inaccurate, after acting like it was all just clickbait? This whole 180 is like watching a politician suddenly care about public schools right before election season. Then she tried to sound emotional. I'm a human too. I have a family. My kids were devastated by these comments. Oh, no, not the I have kids defense. The moment she said that, you could almost hear the collective sigh from the players' side, because while Kathy's kids were devastated, Caitlin Clark was getting slammed on the floor and didn't even get a whistle. And here's where it gets truly ironic. Cathy Engelbert says she's forming a multi-stakeholder task force called the State of the Game Committee. That sounds impressive, right? Until you realize it's just another way of saying, we're forming a committee to talk about forming another committee. You know the league's in real trouble when the solution to bad leadership is more Zoom meetings. And then came the absolute cherry on top, her comment about Caitlin Clark, the same Kathy who allegedly told Nafulsa Collier that Caitlin should be grateful for the platform now wants everyone to know she deeply respects Caitlin, listens to players, and values their feedback. Now she's suddenly praising Clark's impact on the league, calling her a major part of our success story. Oh, so now it's a success story. 2 weeks ago it was. Don't mischaracterize our leadership. This is precisely what we mean by doing She literally spent months ignoring criticism, brushing off officiating issues, and staying quiet on Caitlin's treatment. And now she's acting like the league's biggest ally. She even said she's inviting player voices to help define what good officiating means. That's hilarious because players have been screaming about this since May. Now that the finals are here and the league's image is tanking, it suddenly matters. Timing is everything, huh? But okay, let's be fair. Kathy's not completely clueless. She's a former Deloitte CEO after all. She knows optics. She knows when to pivot. She's desperately trying to rebrand from cold executive to empathetic leader. The problem though? The players aren't buying it because actions speak way louder than conference speeches. Sophie Cunningham famously said she's tired of the league being run by business people who don't know basketball. And that's exactly the issue. Kathy's a numbers person. She's great at spreadsheets, not locker rooms. You cannot lead athletes like you're running a quarterly review. You can't tell Caitlin Clark to be grateful and then wonder why the players don't trust you. And that's exactly why this whole apology tour feels like theater. The audience knows it's fake, but they'll still clap to be polite. Even ESPN reporters were pressing her hard. Malika Andrews asked, point blank, did you really say players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars? Kathy's answer? There's a lot of inaccuracy out there. So basically, no denial, just the classic fake news line. Then she added, I've texted Nafulsa. We're talking next week, you mean after the finals? After 2 weeks of PR damage, nice timing. She was also asked if she still feels she's the right person to lead the league. Kathy's response, "I've never been a quitter. Leadership always rises to the top." You can almost hear Stephen Smith yelling from another studio. That was the most corporate answer I've ever heard. Kathy's strategy seems to be deny the problem, quote leadership cliches, and just hope everyone moves on. Except they won't. Not when players like Caitlin Clark are publicly siding with Nafalsa Collier and saying her points were valid. Not when Sophie Cunningham's threatening a lockout. Not when fans are openly mocking the league for being more dramatic than Love Island. And definitely not when your own league MVPs like Brianna Stewart and Aya Wilson are staying silent, which, let's be real, says a lot, because silence from stars usually means they're done defending you. Let's be super clear here. Kathy Engelbert's success before Caitlin Clark is absolutely real. She helped stabilize the WNBA when it was struggling. She brought in sponsors, improved media deals, and made sure the league survived COVID. But she is not the reason the WNBA is booming now. Caitlin Clark is, and Kathy knows it. That's exactly why this AT happened. She realized she simply cannot afford to lose the one player who made the WNBA matter to mainstream audiences. It's actually funny, before Caitlin, Kathy's press conferences were barely covered. Now, every single word she says trends. That's power, and it doesn't belong to her anymore. Even players who don't love Caitlin have admitted she's lifted the league financially. Attendance, viewership, merchandise, all up. So when Kathy's old, be grateful attitude leaked, it made her look ridiculously jealous of the one person she should be praising. Now she's out here doing verbal gymnastics, trying to sound like a mentor. She even threw in lines like, "We owe it to the players, fans, and next generation." Nice speech, Kathy. Too bad it came after months of ignoring those exact same players. And the funniest part of all, Kathy still can't resist taking credit. In her speech, she said, "We've made incredible progress. We've expanded our footprint, lady." The footprint expanded because Caitlin Clark walked in with an army of fans, not because of your spreadsheets. It's like taking credit for the rain after someone else turned on the sprinkler. Here's the truth. Kathy Engelbert is trying to rewrite her own legacy before it completely collapses. She wants to be remembered as the visionary leader who guided the WNBA through change, not the commissioner who lost her players' trust. But this press conference made one thing crystal clear: the players are no longer scared to call her out. Caitlin Clark didn't even have to say much, just saying valid points was enough. That's the kind of calm confidence Kathy wishes she had. Right now, every time she speaks, it feels like damage control. Every quote sounds pre-approved by 3 lawyers and a PR team, and it's hilarious because the harder she tries to sound warm and relatable, the colder she comes off. It's like watching a robot apologize for accidentally stepping on someone's foot. She even tried ending her speech with a big thank you to her team, calling them the best in women's sport. You can't help but laugh because while she's busy thanking her office staff, her players are publicly questioning if she should even keep her job. That's not leadership, that's denial with a smile. And honestly, this whole saga might just backfire spectacularly, because the more Kathy tries to clarify her comments, the worse she looks. The players don't want another speech. They want accountability. They want actions, like fair pay, better officiating, and a commissioner who actually talks to them without condescending. Right now, Kathy's version of leadership is like trying to put out a house fire by complimenting the wallpaper. Too little, too late. So yes, this whole 180 was hilarious to watch, but it's also genuinely sad, because this could have all been avoided if she just listened earlier. Instead, she let her ego get in the way. Now she's trying to act humble while pretending the problem was miscommunication. No, Kathy, the problem was pure arrogance, and until that changes, no committee or speech is going to fix the WNBA's credibility problem. So yeah, Kathy Engelbert's 180 was great comedy, but it also proves one undeniable thing: the players are now in control of the narrative, not her. And honestly, that's exactly how it should be. And get this, the funniest part in all of this is how Kathy's trying to play both sides now. One minute she's defending herself against misquotes, and the next she's quoting the same players she ignored for months. It's like watching someone argue with their own reflection. Even the media isn't buying it anymore. Reporters are treating her press conferences like stand-up specials, not because she's funny, but because her answers sound like rehearsed punchlines. We're listening to feedback and we value our players just makes her look even more disconnected. And the timing couldn't be worse. Fans are finally paying attention. Caitlyn's injured but still influencing headlines, and the WNBA is finally in the spotlight for something other than low attendance. This was her moment to show genuine leadership. Instead, she gave us a corporate PowerPoint in human form. At this point, if Kathy really wants to win people back, she needs fewer committees and way more honesty. Because fans don't need another memo. They just want someone who gets it. So what do you think? Is Kathy Engelbert actually changing, or is she just panicking before she loses her job? Because right now, her "I care deeply" speech feels more like a desperate PR move than actual leadership. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe if you think Caitlin Clark's silence says more than any commissioner's speech ever could.